Today is my birthday. Today is also the day I found out my soon-to-be ex-husband began cheating on me 1 year ago, at my birthday party, with his current fiancée. Today is my birthday. I went out with some of my friends for lunch, and we happened to run into this woman I used to work with. We'll call her Lillian. Lillian is a busybody. The moment she saw me, she ran over and said, "Happy birthday." So, did you see Victoria's newest post? Victoria is my husband's current girlfriend/fiancée. According to my oldest daughter, they are engaged, but not making an official announcement until the divorce is finalized. I told her no, and reminded her again, I don't follow or care to follow her. She proceeded to shove her phone in my face and show me the post she was talking about. It was Victoria and my soon-to-be ex, with the caption, "Happy 1-year anniversary. I can't believe it's already been 1 year since our eyes met across the dance floor and we fell in love." There was a lot more, I assume, sappy stuff after that, but I stopped reading. I told Lillian again I didn't care what was going on in their lives as long as they treated my kids. I'm not going to lie though, it stings a little bit. I had a feeling my husband cheated on me. Victoria was a family friend, we got familiar with her just from being involved with community things. She was always friendly and nice and lived nearby, so we began inviting her over for family things. Her and my husband clearly got along really well, and once he asked for a divorce, it came 3 months after the party happened, and I asked if there was another woman and he said yes, I knew it was her. Knowing they fell in love at my birthday party last year hurts though. I remember my husband being really nice and attentive that day. I remember him dancing with our daughters. I remember him drawing me a bubble bath afterwards and telling me how he loved me and was happy I had a great day. Now looking back, knowing that entire time he had started something completely new with someone else disgusts me. The fact that he was cheating on me for 3 whole months just makes all of this so much worse. Am I wrong for taking the closest parking space even though a pregnant coworker asked for it? We have a parking lot at my workplace and there are a few prime spots close to the door. Most of them are reserved for managers, etc., but one is unreserved and works on a first-come first-served type situation. Most of the time, I park there because I have an old knee injury, so the closer the better and more convenient. It's obviously the spot everyone wants, so I always make sure to try get in a bit earlier so I could grab it. One of my coworkers is pregnant. Don't have the slightest clue how far, but she's showing and has complained about how packed the parking lot gets, which forces her to park a distance from the door. Basically, she's been going around asking people if they could leave that space open for her. She's never asked me directly, but left a note on my desk a couple days ago asking the same. The next day I parked in the spot like always, and she came by my office to ask if I saw her note. I told her I did, but unfortunately if the spot is open, I'm going to take it. Like I get it, and I wasn't going to fight over the spot, but if she wants it, she should just wake up early. She tried arguing a bit, but eventually left. She lodged an unofficial complaint to the boss who told me about it, but doesn't want to get involved. I've been catching glares and some obvious gossiping murmurs from a couple coworkers about it. Turning the lights off doesn't make it cooler. I return to work after a period of sickness. I come into the office to find that the lights are off and the aircon is off too. Now in the UK, aircon is still not standard, and being in an office where the sun hits you most of the day, it was bliss to have it on. We had filters on our windows to stop people looking in and seeing our computer screens, but they did not stop the heat coming through. The office was like an oven. My little desk fan did nothing. And having the lights off meant that I could barely see my screen, let alone my desk. I raised this with my manager, who was the office health and safety rep, and was told that 2 of the 20 people in the office didn't like the lights on because it made them feel hotter, so they turned all the lights off. I asked then if they felt hot, why turn off the aircon, and the answer: because they didn't like the air blowing on them where they sat. The temperature in the office was hitting 26 degrees Celsius or 78 degrees Fahrenheit, and the light levels were like trying to work at dusk. I told my boss that I could not work under these conditions because they were triggering the condition that I had been off with and was told to go work in another office. I then tried to bring it up with the two people who caused this by asking why they had chosen to turn off the aircon and the lights, and was told that they felt too hot with the lights on and the aircon blew directly on them, which was too annoying. Now the lighting was ultra-low emission lighting, so it gave out no heat, and when I said this, I was told that it didn't matter because it was how they felt, and if you have a problem with that, then go work somewhere else. I put my concerns in writing to my boss and got an email back telling me to go find another office to work in, but before I could move, he would have to approve it. Now, I was on the company HNS team which sat over the office reps, i.e. my boss, and at the next meeting, I brought up that I understood that there were no minimum or maximum heat requirements for an office, but what were we to do if it was hitting 26 degrees Celsius, but the aircon was off? I was told by our CFO to turn on the aircon. I explained that 2 out of 20 people didn't want it. The CFO scribbled down something and said he'd look into it. I then brought up minimum light levels, for which there is legislation, and how we were falling below those. Hubby had lent me a light meter to check, which I did one lunchtime when most of the team were out. CFO asked why it was so dark, and I said that the same 2 people insisted on all the lights being off, because it felt hotter with them on. Again, frantic scribbling. I was off the next day, and then it was the weekend. I came in on the Monday to the aircon on, the lights on, and the 2 moaners glaring at me. Then my boss calls me into a meeting and tells me that he got shouted at by his boss, Big Boss, because the CFO had come to him and torn him a new one over the lights and aircon. Seems the CFO had come into the off on the Friday when the managers and his boss had all gone out for a lunch together. With the 2 moaners, you can now see how they had influence, and talked with the rest of the office about the conditions, and they had all said that it was awful. He then waited for the bosses to come back, sitting in Big Boss office, which turns out they had a long lunch. Proceeded to get into him about breaking HNS regulations over the lighting, and that if 2 out of 20 didn't like the office then they had to move, not inflict this situation on everyone else. Aircon was turned on and the lights, and the CFO left. The 2 moaners went straight to the Big Boss and whined with their manager and were told that nothing could be done for them except they had to find a different office if they didn't like it. They went on about their rights, and Big Boss told them it was not up for discussion. The 2 guys who were responsible for HNS for the whole company had come in with the CFO, checked the lighting levels, and they were lower than I had thought. We were in serious non-compliance. So, when I got called into the meeting with my boss, he was upset because he got shouted at by his boss that I had gone to the HNS committee and not gone through him. I reminded him that I had brought it up verbally and in an email, and he had emailed back that if I was unhappy, I should move offices. Well, Big Boss had thrown my boss and the boss of the 2 moaners under the bus and said he knew nothing of it. So now my boss was in trouble as the HNS office rep for allowing it to happen when he was supposed to check regulations before making decisions. Whilst I got the lights and aircon back on, it was a small victory. I left 3 months later.